Okay, hello everyone. This is Bob again, and as you can see, today we're going to be talking about Supreme number 2. I did a video on Supreme number 1 not too long ago, and was actually kind of impressed with the artwork that was going through it, considering it was done by Brian Murray, who usually is the colorist for a lot of the Extreme Studios or Liefeld comics. He was the colorist on X-Force as well. I guess followed Rob Liefeld over to Image at that time. So with this comic, Supreme number 2, we can see here that this is, to me, staple of Brian Murray. Like, the artwork here is pretty good. I like it. It's consistent. He knows what he's doing. He has a okay concept of anatomy and such. But the wild colors is something that Brian Murray is known for. Metal is a reflective substance. So he tends to just add wild colors to anything that's metal, where again you're going to get a lot of pinks, the purples, greens, and he likes to throw pink and brown together a lot. But honestly, with this issue, I didn't see that taking place. So I actually liked the coloring in this issue, along with a lot of the artwork. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Okay. So as we're going to see here, Rob Liefeld was the creator, obviously, and co-plotter. Brian Murray apparently took on the job of penciler, co-plotter, scripter, and colorist for this book. So he was actually handling a lot, and as you can see here, some guest inkers of Rob Liefeld and Danny Mickey, but Brian Murray was doing a lot of the inking as well. So that's pretty wild that Brian Murray handled so much of this comic. And it may also be why I actually enjoyed the book. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Liefeld. I never really got anything out of his books. They were lacking in story, character development. It's usually just what it was. I feel like Liefeld generally thought that with the stories or things that he was doing, that you were getting a sense of character for, these characters in the book, but you weren't. You were just kind of getting... I think he thought maybe the art would speak for itself, but you weren't really getting any of that. With this, though, we're actually getting a lot. So here we have Supreme, and Supreme, I'm not sure what he's doing. I'm thinking that he's using like telescopic vision to look down on Earth and see what's going on, because we have this double page splash here showing all of the Image heroes. And it's pretty wild because some of these images are taken directly from comics. As you can see, that's obviously Tom McFarlane's Malebolgia, and I believe this is Darkspawn from Wildcats, Dark Thorn, and this is the dude from Brigade whose name I cannot remember. We have the Vampire Crew, Wetworks here. Okay, Wildcats, Cyberforce, Youngblood, Spawn. We have everybody here, and he's looking around and he's talking about how, a lot of these a lot of these teams are kind of funded by corporations now, and that the old heroes that he knew have passed on from old age, basically, and apparently he doesn't age in that manner. So I think he's getting a little bit of a culture shock coming back to Earth and seeing that his old friends are gone, and this is the ones that these are the superheroes that replaced them. Okay, with that in mind, he thinks back on his old arch nemesis Grislock and flies to whatever compound they have him imprisoned in, and Grislock starts going on about how Supreme, while he was gone, missed everything that Grislock did as a revenge, where he killed Billy Nelson, which obviously is another take from Superman here, and Louise, which, of course, Lois, that he apparently killed her too, and he's saying all of this stuff to Supreme, of course, to hurt him, and Supreme's just like, you know what, I was already here to kill you, so I'm just gonna do that, okay? And right before he could do that, he gets attacked by this other person who is a part of Heavy Metal. Okay, Heavy Metal is another government team that was brought in. We saw them at the end of Supreme number 1. So I guess they were brought in to stop Supreme or to get him and bring him in. So of course he gets swatted over to this character. So this was Skyraker. Then he gets batted over to Menagerie. Menagerie hits him and throws him into the ground, where Riot comes in, and Riot, pounds him or whatever a couple of times, but nothing's really happening from that. Can I just say, the tiny hammer, that one was just a little more comical than anything. Like, is that really your weapon? Is this tiny hammer, and you're going up against a Superman knockoff with a tiny hammer? So I find that a little funny. But again, the artwork here, I feel like the storytelling wise and everything, I feel like it's pretty damn good. I think this may be a page that Liefeld inked, because you can kind of tell with some of the facial details and such, or the way the inking is done, that this is kind of Liefeld's way of doing it. So Supreme knocks Riot out of the way, and then Skyraker brings in Decibel, which I guess uses sound waves. So now we have this person here, Jason Temple. I gotta say that maybe in the 90s it was cool. Maybe looking back on it now, it seems weird. But, we had like Predator, where Arnold's name was Dutch, right? And you're just like, oh, okay, that sounds like a badass name or whatever. And then you have Commando, where his name was Matrix, things like that. And that's something that Liefeld always stuck with. So you would have Cable, you would have Cabot, you would have, who was the one dude that was Shaft's father? I can't even remember. Bravo, okay? All of those names, it's kind of so cliche, but, those characters tended to look exactly alike and have that, that type of name. So here we are again, where, this person's going to come in, his name's going to be Temple, okay? All right, that's fine. So Temple comes in, and apparently, he's running the show here. And these guys are fighting Supreme until they realize, you know what, we're really not doing much. This guy's like impervious to everything we try. But Skyraker brings out this sword, which apparently cuts Supreme. And Supreme's a little shocked by that. He's like, wow, I feel pain. I haven't felt that in forever. This is my blood. I can't believe this has actually happened. And now Skyraker kind of looks like he's going in for the kill. I guess their orders were to bring him in dead or alive. So, yeah, again, he's going in for the kill. Now, this is, of course, we're going to get a double-page spread here that we have to turn on the side. But this is an X-ray shot of Skyraker, and this is Supreme using his X-ray vision. And he's going through and he's talking about all of the features that this character has, which, honestly, I mean, this is like pretty detailed. This is telling you a lot. This comic introduced characters, I feel, in a proper way, gave you their names, which I feel is like a big thing. I've worked with writers drawing comics where when the whole comic was completed, you read through it and you realized nobody ever mentioned anybody by name, so none of the characters in the book have a name, and you don't know who they are. Okay, and I feel like that's a thing that writers need to keep in mind when doing a book. And Brian Murray, having scripted this, and I guess pretty much wrote the story and everything, he did a great introduction showing all of the characters, saying their names, and then here we are where they're describing this character's powers, right? That he has an epidermis that's more dense than Tritonite diamond, that, his armor's kind of alive, his sword is alive, things like that. So you're getting all of this information about this character, Skyraker, which is awesome. So Supreme stops the blade and then punches him. Now, I will say this. While the artwork is decent and competent, there's not much energy here with this. Like, maybe Supreme doesn't really have to throw a real punch. He could just kind of do this type of thing and knock this character off. But I think you just described this character as being ultra powerful as well. So, of course, once he punches Skyraker off, everybody comes running in. But they're like, wait a minute, hold on. Let's stop this. Let's try it from a different, let's try a different way of handling this, because we're obviously not making a dent into this guy, so we're going to stop and talk. this seems to be the trope now in two comics. And the Supreme #1, you had Youngblood go up and immediately fight Supreme, immediately get their butts handed to them, and then they're like, oh, okay, hold on, let's talk instead. I don't know. I'm sorry. That one I kind of find a little laughable. Perhaps they should have gone in more diplomatic to begin with and then let a fight escalate from there. But this is an extreme comic, so you have to have people fighting each other to show off, their abilities and to have, all these action scenes and everything. So Heavy Metal's like, hey, come with us. We're going to take you to somebody because apparently Grislock is somebody that we need. We use him, and we can't allow you to kill him. So they take Supreme over to, I believe it's Gate Industries, and they, introduce him to Justin Temple, who takes Supreme away. Now, I do like this because Skyraker has these wings, and we can see all these little sound effects here. And basically, this is an animated thing of the same view where these wings are pulling in and retracting into Skyraker's body. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. I like that, and I like the way it was portrayed. But Justin Temple's talking to Supreme, but we don't really get to hear what Justin Temple is talking about. We're outside here with the rest of Heavy Metal while they're like, hey, what's going on? And then Supreme just comes out and apparently just flies to a window. I guess these windows are open. So he just flies out, and then these people are like, well, Justin, I guess it didn't work. You're not as smooth as you think you are because you weren't able to get Supreme. And he's just like, oh no, meet us here early tomorrow morning because Supreme is going to be inserted into Heavy Metal as a commander. Okay, so now we cut to deep space where we can see that I believe these are the Catellans are looking for Supreme. They're going to Earth to look for Supreme, and the intentions aren't made clear. It's apparently Supreme helped them in a war campaign and helped them bring down some evil alien creature of some kind or whatever. So maybe they're looking to get Supreme to help them again or something else. We don't know. But I have to tell you, I was actually interested. But at the time, I think I just, in the 90s, when this stuff was coming out, I don't know. I didn't see the attraction I didn't appreciate this book for what it was back then. I appreciate it more now. Back then, I think the first comic kind of turned me off, that it was just a Superman ripoff, and that I felt like a couple of stupid things had taken place that I just didn't buy into. But the second book, I feel like made up for that because I feel like with Brian Murray in the writer's chair and the artist's chair, that he was doing something kind of decent with Supreme. So I kind of wish I had kept on with it, especially later on knowing that Alan Moore comes on and, does some great story work and everything with his character. Hindsight is 2020. I wish I had kept on with it. But after this issue, I was like, I'm kind of done. This is kind of how I was with most of the extreme titles. I would purchase them thinking I was going to get something and then realize that I just never got anything. You never got a complete story. You never got any kind of characterization. You got some artwork that you could either enjoy or make fun of. That was basically what I was getting out of Extreme Studios. And then again, after a while, like I said, Rob Liefeld was ousted from Image and went on to Maximum Press. And I guess maybe the comic shop that I went to just didn't carry his stuff anymore because whenever I went in there, it just looked like Rob Liefeld had disappeared. Okay, so this was Supreme #2, a comic I actually liked. Maybe I will hit my comic shop and see if I can buy some of the older issues of Supreme since, as far as I can tell, these characters are no longer owned by Liefeld from some, business decisions that didn't work out the way they were planned. So the rights to a lot of these characters belong to someone else. So it doesn't look like we're going to get any kind of reprints or collected editions of this stuff, which is kind of sad because I probably would go out and purchase it. But anyway, guys, if you like this video, please hit like. It helps, my channel grow. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. I'm trying to put out a video daily of exactly this, where I go through the comics that were significant to me from my past. Also, I'm a comic book artist, and I'm currently working on my comic Ghost Girl, as you can see here, within the next month or two, I should be complete. The comic should be complete, at which time I will do a Kickstarter in order to fund the publication of the book. If you think you might be interested in that, hit subscribe so you can stay up to date on any new information. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time.